Was thought to be a disease that impacts older people and those who are sick. But a surprising finding, young people, otherwise healthy, are dying after they're infected with SARS-CoV-2. And the reason is not breathing issues or lung damage, it's stroke. Joining us to talk about this new and unsettling discovery is Dr. Pascal Jabbour. He's professor of neurological surgery at Thomas Jefferson University Hospital in Philadelphia. Doctor, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Since we have been talking about COVID-19, we have long said that people with heart disease and people with high blood pressure are impacted. This is very disturbing and unsettling that otherwise healthy people are having strokes. Tell us about it and why.
Yes, so I want to start by saying that those are all preliminary results on a small number of patients, and it was a snapshot from March 20th until April 10th. So not enough to draw conclusions, but enough to raise awareness.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So we noticed that the incidence of COVID in patients presenting with a stroke was higher than the usual, relatively high. And 50% of those patients were young patients in the 50s and below. And 50% of the whole series did not have any risk factors for stroke. This was a collaboration with NYU.
And when you put this in perspective, I mean, the average age for stroke is someone in their 70s. So when you think about someone who doesn't have otherwise any risk factors, it's really disturbing. I mean, how could they protect themselves?
Yes, that's why we were surprised. And at this point, also, some patients didn't know that they had COVID, and they presented to the hospital with stroke as their first symptom. And we diagnosed them when we admitted them and after we did the intervention, the stroke intervention.
Boy, one more reason that we should be monitoring our symptoms, maybe paying attention to temperature and things like this. Do you think it's the virus itself that is leading to the strokes, or is it maybe the body's immune response to the virus that is making things more difficult?
So we still don't know yet, but there are multiple theories. But one of them is the inflammation reaction that the virus is causing. This inflammation reaction increases some inflammation proteins in the blood, and those can trigger the blood to clot. Another mechanism also could be the inflammation of the small blood vessel called vasculitis. It's a little bit what they were talking about in UK, what you said earlier about those kids that were seen with possible Kawasaki disease. Again, we cannot draw conclusions, but it's mainly awareness. We also have noticed that patients have been presenting in a delayed manner. Usually with a stroke, we have a small window to be able to intervene to try to reverse the symptoms or the stroke. But patients, because they are scared of going to the hospital, they are delaying the presentation. And this is very dangerous. That's why it's very important to send the message that anyone who has any stroke symptoms, they need to call 911 right away, because stroke is happening and we need to get to them early.
Right, and you need to get to them quickly, obviously. At this point, because of the impact on blood clotting, are anti-clotting drugs maybe a good use for COVID-19 patients? We've heard of a number of different medications, but we have not heard a great deal about that.
Yes, still, I mean, we need trials for that to be able to give official recommendation. But there may be some patients that may benefit from that. We don't know yet, because also blood thinners carry risk, which is the risk of hemorrhage also in patients that are really sick with COVID. So.
Right, and that balance is very critical. Dr. Jabbour, thank you so much. For more information, you can check out Facebook, Twitter, or jeffersonhealth.org.